Hello friends. Today I'd like to show you how to do something that may seem strange or hard for someone who's not used to contributing to open source projects. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to contribute a pull request or a change to the Spacemacs project. Though the principles I show here can be applied to any project that is using Git and specifically hosted on GitHub. Spacemacs is the configuration of Emacs that I use that combines the best of both Vim and Emacs, and I often contribute bug fixes, new features, documentation, mainly minor things so far, but it's something that has been very useful for me. Today I want to demonstrate how to do a pull request by showing you how to fix a bug. I filed this bug myself a few days ago, but I knew that I knew how to fix it. But I filed it while I was thinking about it. Specifically, Spacemacs, or excuse me, Emacs in general, allows you to make bookmarks in files, and specifically in specific locations of files. On the Spacemacs home buffer, or the asterisk Spacemacs asterisk buffer, you can optionally show your bookmarks, which I have here. And like for example, I have a bookmark to the org mode documentation, the PDF file. Yes, I use Emacs for reading PDF files. If I hit, for example, if I hit enter on this line, it just opens up the file on the first page. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted, and that's actually not where I actually put the bookmark in a specific section that I was reading. If you for example, go to look at the bookmark list and visit it, it goes to the specific page. Well, the problem is when you look at the code, and I'll show you that later, Spacemacs in that buffer just finds the file and doesn't actually use the bookmark functionality. And so I have a patch I want to submit to make it do the right thing. So what do you have to do? I have done this completely from scratch so you can see the whole process. So you start by going to the main page for the project. And so here I am at the main Spacemacs page. And as you can see here over on the top right, there is this fork button. And so let's go ahead and click it. Now, I'm a member of some different organizations, and so I want to choose my user. If you are not, if you just have your user, you may not have that. You have that selection come up. So now, as you can see, instead of the main Spacemacs repo, I am now in my own. This is my user and Spacemacs, and it's all up to date. And we have the URL that we can use that I could check out another copy of the repo and make my changes in or whatever. But the nice thing about Git is it lets you add multiple what it calls remotes that you can pull from and push to. And so that's what we're going to do here. So let's copy that URL and then we'll do that. So first of all though, we need to make sure our local copy of the Spacemacs repo is up to date before we make changes. Now, so first, let's do that. Let's go to the magic status buffer. In order to do magic status and specify a path, you first do space U, and then space GS for get status. Type the path, so it's home.emacsd. So one thing to note is that you need to be on the develop branch. You could be running on the master branch, but in order to contribute, at least in this project, it is preferred that you contribute to the develop branch, because that's where all of the work is going. And so we need to make sure we're up to date with that. Now, so let's go ahead and first make sure we're on the develop branch. And as you can see, we are there. And then we want to pull from there. So I press question mark to see what the options, and so do capital F for pull, and then I do -R to make sure I rebase. Now, I don't have any local changes, but if I did have any local changes that weren't pushed, this would be something I'd want to do in order to make sure they were based on the latest commits. So I out of habit always do rebase, and so I do capital F again. And now we're up to date. It says, you know, we can see it's commit 5F5B, and we look here, we switch to the develop branch, and sure enough, 5F5B. So we are at the latest branch. Now, since we made changes to the Spacemacs code, you know, I would prefer to be running it, so let's restart Emacs. So quit Emacs, and then start up again. Okay, now that we've done that, let's bring up Magic again, and we now need to add our remote. So there's several ways you could go about this. Right now, as you have the default checkout, the way you installed Spacemacs, the origin remote is set to the main Spacemacs repo. Now, you could blow that checkout away and check out your new forked copy, and then add the upstream or original Spacemacs repo as another remote. Now, personally, since I more often pull in changes and run and am using the changes from the upstream than I am my own changes, I prefer to leave the upstream as origin. In other projects where I'm more often running my own changes, I make my own checkout the origin, and then create a remote named upstream to the upstream repo and pull from that. But this time I want to leave the origin in the upstream and add my own. And so again, if we look at the help, remoting is capital M, so we do capital M, and then I want to add a remote. And we give it a name. You can give it any name you want. I'm going to call it mine, just that's descriptive enough. And then we want to put in the URL. Again, you look here on the right hand side, the SSH clone URL. And there you go. Now, before we make any changes, we want to do a branch. Now, personally, I like to do, you could just do it on the develop branch and push the develop to your repo and then submit the pull request from there. Now, personally, I like to do a branch per pull request, because then that enables me to do multiple pull requests at one time, and it feels a lot cleaner. And so let's create and switch to a new branch before we make our change. So again, looking at the help, B for branching, and then capital B for create and checkout. And I'm going to give it a name, and I generally do something like fix and then a slash and then a description of what I want to do. And I'm going to do Spacemacs home buffer bookmarks jump or something that works. It's descriptive enough. Excuse me, I did that wrong. I wasn't paying attention to the prompt, so let's do that again. B. Now this is the branch. This first one is the branch that you want to base it on. Right now, I want to base it on develop. What are you going to branch upon off of? I apologize there. Now it's going to ask for the branch name, and now I'm going to do fix Spacemacs home buffer bookmarks jump. I don't believe you can have spaces in this name, but generally, you know, dashes, slashes, and stuff work fine. Okay. Sorry for that stumble there. Now, as you can see here, I am now on the fix branch, fix / Spacemacs home buffer bookmarks jump branch. Okay. Now I want to do my changes. Now, to make this simple so you don't have to watch me stumble through writing code, I made a git stash of the changes that I want to make. So let's take a look at this. So, well, let's apply those. So Z for stash and P for pop. And let's look at the change. So previously, it used a function called insert file list and took the file names for all the bookmarks. And again, that gave us the behavior that we didn't want. So now I made a similar function called insert bookmark list that on the action uses bookmark jump of the bookmark name, and then when it displays it, it shows the bookmark name dash the file name that the bookmark links to. That way you can have multiple bookmarks per file and you can give them different names, and so that makes it really nice. So we can now stage the change, and then we want to make a commit. Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. C for commit, commit again, and the nice thing about Magic is it will show you your changes on the right hand side so you can look at them as you write your commit message. I will link to in the blog post that I write, I will make a link to a post I read recently about how to make good commit messages. I hope that I follow this. Generally, you want to make a short 50 character or less title or subject, and then a as extensive description of what the change is. So I'm going to say fix Spacemacs home buffer bookmark list jumping. Marks to jump to bookmark to jump to bookmark. And as you can see, it showed me that I was over that, so let me just say home buffer to jump to bookmarks. And then for my description, I'll say to properly location in the file. Also show the bookmark name and the file name in the list. Okay, that's probably sufficient. And hit Control C, Control C. Okay, and now we're ready to push our changes. So again, we look at the question mark, and pushing is capital P. Now, since this is a new branch, we want to set the upstream. So if we have to make any new pushes to this branch, say the project owner makes some suggestions or wants to make some changes, then I need to push some new changes to it. It sets the upstream, and so it can then be used in subsequent pushes. So we want to do that. And then do capital P to push current. And it is going to ask where to go. And so by default, as you see now, right now, it's by default, since we branched off of develop, upstream is develop. Now we want the upstream to be in mine. So it will so I choose mine/fix Spacemacs home buffer bookmarks jumped. So, and it's finished. So now if we switch over to the page, it actually says, hey look, I just noticed that you had this thing and this commit, and so now we can do compare and pull request. And I just realized that we should have added a reference to the bug number, and so let's do that. So since you haven't yet had anyone else reference this, you can do this. You want to amend your last commit. So commit amend, and do this fixes, and I believe the syntax is number 2431. So the owner/repository and the number. So let's do that, and then we'll do push again. This time we'll do force because we want to change the existing commit. Undo current, do mine, and so if we look here and do a refresh, and we look at our branch, and sure enough, it references that. And so I made a little mistake, but Git and Magic make it really easy to fix that. So now we want to do a pull request. So we click that button, and we want to compare against, and we want to compare against develop. And sometimes it takes a while to do this because originally it's trying to compare against master, and since it's very many commits different from master, it doesn't know what to do, and so forgive me that this takes a second. It even makes my browser go slow. There we go. So it's able to merge because it's clean, and it automatically actually takes the information from your commit message and does that. So that's sufficient for me. And then we can look at the commit, and sure enough, it adds that. Makes that change simple enough, and do create pull request. And now we have created a new pull request. Then it can be later merged and hopefully work. And so that's basically the process for making your first contribution. And congratulations, you've done your first contribution. I am going to have a blog entry which I will link in the description below, which will list out all of this, and so you can see it through my stumbling. You can actually see the keyboard commands in Spacemacs that you use, and maybe a little bit more description of what's going on. And hopefully this is helpful and can be on your way of creating your own changes and contributions to upstream projects. Hope you have a great day.